The death of the greatest? Question mark. All right, so follow me on this one. In a recent interview, 21 Savage suggested that technical rapping ability and being the greatest are secondary to being a successful version of himself.
Kendrick really loved to rap. I don't really give a fuck about rapping like that.
Oh, whoa.
Because Kendrick one of them rappers. Like goddamn.
Nigga, explain this to somebody in 300 years. He one of them rappers. Don't y'all all rap? Nah, I'm one of them like diet rappers.
He know how to say like different shit, like writing shit.
Kendrick is a rapper because he know how to say different shit and he know how to write. Dog, take me out this Twilight Zone. 21 Savage is dope to me. But to be impressed by these very bare basic requirements of songwriting, it's got me head scratching a little bit.
Bro. MCs. MC really can't lose. You can't lose if you an MC for real. But Drake an MC for real. But
why that MC feel like a slur?
Goddamn, make hits too. So it's different.
Yo, shout out to Curtis King.
Goddamn.
Oh man, this one, I got a lot to say, but I'm going to defer to the panel tonight. But so I pose a question: can hip hop sustain itself as the world's most popular genre if its leading figures stop treating the rap part of their job with reverence? What do you guys think? Come on, Jay, give me something. Yeah, I'm gonna start with you this time.
Look, one of the most disappointing things about what 21 is saying, because I've enjoyed some of 21's music.
He's dead serious, by the way. You know that, right?
I know he's not playing.
Okay, I want to make sure you know he's dead serious.
But one of the most disappointing parts about what he's saying, it's almost like there's so many spitters and people who got something to say in the South, and I almost think like 21 Savage is an influential enough person within the culture, specifically within Atlanta culture, to where people will be like, yeah, I need to stop trying to be so intricate and intelligent, and I'm not even saying intelligent. I'm just saying wordy with my bars. Why would I want to do that? I want to be like 21 Savage. And I think it's kind of a sad thing because there's so many spitters in the South that, people don't pay attention to the way they should. And I think this is a prevailing mentality that kind of permeates through the music that, okay, yeah, you can be an MC over here, but I want my songs to play on the radio, in the strip club, wherever. At the barbecues, and I can't do it if I'm over here being a rapper, whatever that's supposed to mean. And MC is used as a slur. Where you say, can we maintain the culture just within this thing that is hip hop? If we have people who don't care about writing, who don't care about varying their subject matter, and I think we can't. We have to have people who carry the torch for the actual artistry of hip hop. We do. But, you can't have statements like this out here from people who are as influential as 21 Savage. Because, we laugh at it. And, of course, the people within our sphere and the content creators. But there are some content creators I've seen G for this,
True.
And have the thing where, like, they'll be like, no, I don't want to hear all that stuff about your mind state and the politics. I just want to, shake a little ass.
I want to think.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think. But we can't maintain the culture. We can't maintain this thing that is hip hop if that becomes the prevailing thought and idea of how we maintain.
Jay Diff, what you think, bro?
I think the issue isn't necessarily the most popular artists in hip hop aren't being revered or recognized as far as hip hop is concerned. I feel like the tide is changing back to what the rap game originally was.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that aren't participating in the art form that way are being left behind. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, I'm not really a rapper. Like I don't rap like Kendrick. I don't be writing and stuff like that. I just go to the studio and say what I got to say, whatever's on my mind. They're not taking it as serious. And at one point in time, well, still generally, you can do that. You don't have to take it as serious anymore. People are looking at it as pretty much a come up. They're not looking at it as a love for the art form. So they get into it, and now their records aren't selling like they want them to sell, because that's what they're in it for anyway. They want their records to sell. They're not necessarily in the game in order to, be talked about as the best rapper or care about if the source is out that they got 5 mics. They don't care nothing about that. All they care about is being heard on the radio, being hot socially, and people see that they got money. And that, that tide is turning. So they're starting to feel like they're being left behind. And that's one of the reasons that I feel like he's saying things like that, as far as I'm not a rapper like they really be rapping. I don't be rapping like that. I feel like he just feels like him and some of his peers are being left behind. And it's kind of like when we go down to Atlanta, he's talking about a lot of them, because I don't know if y'all have seen the unity that they've got going on now, trying to pretty much propel everybody up and let's get to the money. Yeah. But they don't care about who raps the best. They care about who's making the most money. And that's what's kind of, making an issue in the game and makes him say what he says.
I got you. MetroGnome, what you think, bro?
I think there's an interesting dichotomy because, for one, this is not even a surprising topic to me, because people of the music industry has been prioritizing the business over the art form for a long, long time.
Facts.
So that isn't even a current issue to me. But I don't know. Like, yes, we're seeing some real spitters get their due shine. Killer Mike, winning a Grammy,
yes,
Kendrick, and all that. But in general, do you guys actually? I mean, there's two separate things happening. There's a couple elite people that are performing really well under these metrics, but in general, I don't really see some major change. I mean, you have, you can count the people on one hand that are like spitters that are doing really well. There's still a lot of like terrible music out there. And I also still have this theory that the less syllables you put in the bar per song, the better it will perform commercially. Like I still believe that to be true. I have literally no data. I've never run any examples on it.
I think you might be on to something, low key.
Yeah, but it just feels like that's the case. So with 21, I'm not saying I dislike all of his music, but I also am not particularly in love with his music. He's got some joints, but at the same time, I think that the dichotomous part to me is the fact that there's some data that came out. This is the first time that there's no hip hop in the top
we talked about that
40 or 100 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is just kind of an interesting like element of timing that this clip comes out when you're also seeing kind of a drop in that in terms of the cultural, quote unquote, cultural impact. I don't know. This doesn't seem to me to be like some terribly noteworthy news flash element.
I think for me, it's the level of the artist that's saying it for me, because Jay Moore made a good point where he talks about how we might see it or how we might perceive it, but 21 Savage is somebody that has a huge following. I'm not saying he's the most popular or whatever, but he's out there. And I feel like he has the type, it's like NBA Youngboy. NBA Youngboy has a cult following that's going to follow him and live and die by whatever he says.
But choose the year, 2013, 2008, 1997. If you quizzed all of us in this room at any point in time, the worst rappers were the most popular, generally speaking, outside of maybe a Jay-Z. Like there's some, maybe a Kendrick. But like in general, and I know this is a DJ, the records we play in the clubs are the stupidest shit. But it's been like that forever.
First of all, you're right. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, as I get older, I understand what the power is that comes with these artists. And I'm talking about from
they do have big followings.
That's what I'm saying. Like they are very impactful, and the slightest things that they can say or that they say that are pushed, there's a huge impact that potentially will follow that. That's what I'm saying. So when I see him say something like that, it was so nonchalant. It's like, that's not what we're here for. Like, this is what we're here for.
But why is this a surprise? Listen to the music.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the ramifications. I'm not talking about what he said. I'm not surprised by him saying that. His music says that. So I'm not surprised about that. I'm talking about what comes from it with the people that actually follow him. It's like, yo, we don't have to talk about shit. It's like 21 said that, so let's just figure out a way to get on and be popular. Like, that's the culture to me that we're in. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think there was something to what Terry said about there's a certain segment of artists who feels like they might be left behind if all of a sudden, because
That's true.
if you see the success that because say whatever you want about J. Cole, and we've had several conversations about him up here. J. Cole sells a lot of records.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick sells a lot of records.
He sure does.
They win awards. People were genuinely, you could talk about the rollout or whatever, but people were genuinely excited to get an album from the Clips this year.
Facts.
That's true. And here's, basically, I think Malice is in his 50s, and so here it is, you have, two dudes who've, started their career in the 90s, and, everybody in hip hop had to talk about this record, and there's not that same urgency with us to talk. We're talking about 21 Savage's statement. We're not talking about his music.
Right, and he just dropped his album last week.
Yeah.
And Nas
That's
made a good point. He talked about how, and this is how I feel like this is trending. Back in the day, hip hop never cared about charting and where they were seen in the billboards or Rolling Stone. All they cared about was that it was dope.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's getting back to that now, where like you can't just be rapping about any old thing and people are gonna give you your props, and people are kind of over that. It's like Kendrick said. I actually just watched a video from Screwface John talking about, confirming how Kendrick was right. The party died, and they're trying to scramble to figure out what they need to do now, because their genre of music is being pushed to the side because people are paying more attention to what put the culture on in the first place, which is bars and lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Caring
exactly.
about
That's
the
all it
music
is.
instead of like the end product.
Yeah.
Caring is big.
Right. So that's where we're getting back to, and artists like this are just trying to figure out a way and letting it be known, I ain't a rapper. So if you ain't trying to listen, if you're not trying to listen to a wordplay and you want to hear bars, don't come to Death Row, essentially, because I'm not giving you this. I'm about to just give you some bullshit party rap, and I'm gonna talk about the same thing. But in the same token, I'm gonna say the streets is dead, but I'm gonna rap about the streets.
That part.
But art and commerce,
Big contradiction.
Yeah, art and
big
commerce
part.
have always kind of had that tug of war. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I was trying to say is, sounds like I'm taking shots, but
No, you good, bro.
That's what
tell
we
the
do
truth.
here. We take
tell
shots.
the
We
truth.
tell these
It's all right.
sucks the time.
But it is true.
Go ahead.
I mean,
Jump
like
in, Lon.
if your goal is to make great product in the sense of a product that you can sell, that you can be successful at, as 21 is saying here, versus I'm just going to make some really good art.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
right.
True.
And,
Well, it's because it's hard to say I'm going to make art with. It's like, okay, what are the singles? I mean, like that's not really that. There is a contradiction. Maybe not be the word, but I can't imagine someone just say, okay. When you think about, we're going to take it back to Nick's t-shirt here.
Yeah.
When you talk about when Motown was popping, Berry Gordy literally ran that company like, he was working in an auto plant.
Yeah. Ford factory.
There was
Facts.
at one point, the Temptations had been signed 2 or 3 years before My Girl hit, because it would go through the testing process. And then if the people and the pencil pushers and the people in the room didn't say it was a hit, it wasn't a hit. Now, is that how art should be done? No, but Berry Gordy was trying to make money. I think we're in a position now to where I'll give Nas some props here when you're talking about what was done this year.
Yeah.
With, putting out this, and on those projects actually came out.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because, I think
Yeah.
when we talked about it, I think there was a little bit, it was like, are we really going to get all this from these artists that we want to hear from? At least the people in this room were interested in hearing from these artists. And I don't think Nas was like, okay, we're going to try to get this Mobb Deep and this De La, so we're going to take it to the top of the charts and we're going to be on the radio. I don't think that was the goal. The goal was, let's make really dope hip hop.
Let's go back to the basics. We didn't care about
artists.
that.
Yeah, and I think it's sad that there are artists who aren't thinking, I'm going to make something dope. Because there are some artists who they just want to make something that's going to get them on TV and on the radio, and they don't care
about the TV or the radio. They care about internet
or the
likes.
internet.
Yeah. It's like
Their version of the TV and
Likes,
radio, which is the
trending,
internet and likes.
Yeah.
And
algorithm.
whatever's going to take care of that is good enough. And I think that's sadly where a lot of the quote unquote popular music is like, it's good enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I got to give Lone peas because he's consistent. We've all, as a show, we've talked about the lack of importance as it relates to art. Lone has always said that, and I'm talking about, we can go back and pull up the tape on episodes. It's literally what you've been saying, but now we get a chance to actually see it because you've always talked about the value of art and how it's being devalued.
Sure.
To me, this confirms everything that you've talked about because it's not about the art.
Well, this is even a step deeper because this is even less about the consumer. This is more so about the people making it.
The artists, the creatives, right?
I don't call them artists.
Oh, you don't.
You're not an artist to me if you're making product.
That's fair.
That
you're
like
you're a salesman.
You're just moonlighting as an artist or as a musician or whatever. Like if you come on here and you say, I'm not trying to rap well.
Yeah.
I don't care about being the greatest or rapping ability. I just want to be successful.
Yeah. That's what he said.
But your successful isn't in relation to the art that you're doing. It's in relation to how people see you and the amount of money that the viewership and the eyes on you creates for your pocket.
Yeah.
We're talking about two different things to Nick's point. Like it's two different, and to Terry's point. Like these are two different things. And this is why sometimes it can be kind of a contentious point to say, this is not art over here.
Yeah.
But if you're not making, like, it's one thing to make art and then it becomes successful because you're making art and people like it because it's art and you're being artful, artsy or whatever, right? And it's another thing to be like, I'm just going to take all these elements and I'm going to take all these, I'm going to find what works for all these people and I'm just going to
just do it,
and take up space. And I just don't.
I'm gonna put it back.
I can respect that.
I'm gonna put it back in the consumer's hands. I know we're talking about art, but
it's both.
It's definitely both. But when it comes to like the reason why they figured out this equation, well, like you said, back in the day, we've always had rappers that weren't the best rappers, but the cream always rises to the top, or it did at one point in time. And now what we have, the issue is they're making so much money being not the person that should be looked at as far as somebody carrying a torch for hip hop, so to speak. So regardless of how good they rap, people equate having money as success. So regardless of if Kendrick can rap better than 21 Savage, you have a group of people that are going to say, well, I feel like he got more money than him. Although he doesn't. But like from surface, it looks like he has more money, so I'm rocking with him. Or he might have more followers than Kendrick on whatever. They're going by that metric versus the actual talent and art metric. So
damn, that's a good point.
That's I think is the difference now. Back in the day, you could have a couple songs that would get you hot, and that would be it. But you didn't get paid like they're getting paid now.
Well, the machine is different now. Well, the machine was always present. So when the machine decided, the industry decided that hip hop, they needed it to be this commercially viable thing, and they thought that they could exploit it. Then they pumped a lot of money and resources, and obviously radio played a big role, and then radio died. So and everything turned over to the internet. But I just think that the avenues that people are trying to figure out how to conquer. There's always people trying to figure out how to conquer the business.
True.
Right.
True.
Like behind the scenes. I think that that's just a piece of the puzzle.
Sure.
Too, because somebody's signing these people that don't give a shit. Like
because it's easy to sign a product.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
once again, what we see now is people are not being signed based on, oh wow, that person is really talented. Let me nurture their talent so I can have this art go out into the world. Right now, all they're trying to nurture are your metrics. You know, they're trying to see, okay, how many followers does this person have? How many YouTube views do they have on their own? Then we'll put some money behind it, and we can maybe exploit this person for 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe if we really get lucky. And then we'll throw them to the side and get the new one. Just like you do, once the lease is up on a car, get that car out of here.
I mean, that's what's interesting. And maybe I just, none of us lived during the Tamla era, right? During the Motown era. But like, I just can't help but assume that there's a difference between all of the musicians that were actually real musicians that were really making the music. I mean, it seems to be night and day between the roster of people that became Motown. Like every single person that made a record was, borderline genius.
There's a level of gates too. Like even when you're talking about like Berry Gordy in a room and there's a bunch of people sitting around. Who are these people sitting around? Like, are they musicians? Are they like
Smokey Robinson?
Here you go.
Like
Diana Ross,
who are the people that would be like, oh, that ain't it. That's not it. Like, what are the metrics there versus now you're in a room with a bunch of people smoking meth.
Not meth.
I'm watching Breaking Bad. I'm watching Breaking Bad.
We know where you were going, though.
You probably ain't
we
coming
know
up
where you was
with
going.
any good
Cooking
shit
meth,
smoking meth.
Not meth, though, but we know where you
that's
going.
going to be a hit.
Yeah.
I don't even know. What it smoke? All right. Let me
But
ask
I'm
you.
just saying-
I don't watch enough to know.
Don't tell
what-
on yourself
I guess
now.
what I'm saying is like the judge and jury now is popularity.
Yeah.
Right.
And
The yes men.
That's
It's like
they're bean counters. Like our hip hop is being run by accountants and assorted weirdos.
None of these people are, and I hate to.
But when it's based on followers, something that you and metrics of that nature, you can account for.
But
Could you really do the same back then? I don't know. I mean, I guess radio, like you could to some degree, like who's listening to it, but
I think it's sad that the people that are the decision makers are not tapped in at all.
And that's what I'm saying.
They
It's
have no they have no feeling of the pulse of the culture other than well they do from a standpoint of numerical, like
business.
that part.
Exactly.
But as the actual culture, they're totally blind to that part.
It's all tech
It's
companies.
numeric. Everything's technical, AI, numeric, followers. That's it. And to me, that is a huge problem because these are the, I don't want to say gatekeeping. We talked about the last week.
but it is a gate.
It's gatekeeping.
It's a gate of a way.
Like these are the people that are making the decision.
So like, let's reverse engineer this. And obviously, these could be isolated, right? Like this
Right.
particular example. So I'm not saying it applies to everything.
Yeah.
But like, so Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist had a great project this year, right?
Sure
It
did.
got a lot of love. It was part of the whole rollout. Well, let's jump back to when Pinata dropped, right?
Yes.
Somebody, i.e., probably Peanut Butter Wolf or somebody at Stone's Throw or somebody in one of those camps was like, let's get Freddie Gibbs with Madlib. That sounded like some real off the wall shit.
Back,
Like
100%.
it probably sounded like a bizarre idea that I don't think anybody would assume at that point that it would be as commercially viable as it was, but because they prioritized the art,
Sure.
to Lone's point, and they prioritized the care and the intent was there, that is what eventually led to the following, the cult following, and the interest, which I can only assume is what eventually landed Freddie Gibbs with Alchemist.
I'm not gonna
years
hold,
later.
I'm not
You know
gonna
what I mean?
hold you, Nick. When I initially heard about it, I said maybe. That's my initial reaction.
And that's my point. It's
maybe.
like it's but again, the taking those like having the artistic vision is just a very different.
Like the way that they, to your point about the artistic standpoint, we're in an era now where the people that actually care, they're finding ways to be creative. If you look at that tour and you see him coming out in the jumpsuit and like you see the wax, and you see how they've marketed everything based off the short videos and the video that we did a review for one time. All of that stuff is intentional, but it's about the art and the music. A lot of this stuff is just, we're going to show up to the concert, we're going to turn up and we're going to leave. There's a difference in the way Freddie and the Alchemist and whoever their team is, they approach that. And that's why I think that's why it's received so well.
It's just,
Because it feels
it's just
special.
respect. It's just respecting
It's
the art.
respect.
It's
Yeah.
just respecting the art.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly, I didn't think. I remember when Killer Mike and LP. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
But it's just,
But,
it's just
it
respect.
works.
Like you can have great marketing as somebody who respects the art. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that,
Yeah.
and
I'm with you.
And I think that's what it comes down to. And I think all of us sitting around this table and all of us that are, that if you're watching, it's really easy to spot. You can tell, like if you've been around long enough, those
There you
that
go.
respect the art of it and those that are just in it just to essentially moonlight in it.
Bro,
the
when I
difference is artists take chances and people that are just
boom.
rapping are just rapping. They're not going to take a chance. They're not going to come up with a concept and write an album based around that concept. It's that I'm going to rap how I feel today and I'm going to put it out. I'm going to get the hottest producer in my region to help me curate this sound and we're going to keep following that. And that's exactly what the issue is.